Hello, and we are live. Today is March 11th, Monday. Lovely Monday as compared to yesterday. It was absolutely lovely today, and it's still lovely. It is currently 6:39 p.m. We're talking about laser teeth whitening and toothpaste. So if you want to stick around and you want to hang around and learn about laser teeth whitening and all the controversies surrounding all the laser teeth whitening and the purported laser teeth whitening that everyone talks about, I'm going to talk about what works and what doesn't, and everything surrounding that. So this is going to be a very quick punch type of teeth whitening podcast. And of course, I prepared a lovely slides for you. Today is also the first day of Ramadan. Just thought I'd throw it out there because for those of you that want to know, want to be in the know, today is day one Ramadan. That's why we are holding this podcast at 6:40 p.m. as opposed to the 8 p.m. that I usually do it. So get used to it. It's going to be around that time. I'm going to try my best to make it at 6:30, and that's what I decided to do. I think 6:30 is safe throughout Ramadan, and if I have to make it until like 6:15 till 6:30, a 15-minute podcast, I think it's great. So we're talking about teeth whitening. Today's episode number 53, day 53, straight up live. And we're talking about teeth whitening. No, we're not talking about teeth whitening specifically. We're talking about laser teeth whitening because yesterday we talked about teeth whitening. So you missed it. Make sure you go and check it out because it's been recorded. It's on YouTube. It's on X. It's on Facebook. It's on LinkedIn. It's literally on everywhere except Instagram. It's not there. All right. Laser teeth whitening. Now, there's been a lot of these controversies with regards to laser teeth whitening because it's heavily marketed. And laser teeth whitening is kind of a misnomer. And the reason I say that is because the true laser teeth whitening is not really used that much, okay? Because it's not really marketed that much. And the effectiveness, I personally doubt because I haven't really seen the effectiveness of it. Not many people actually talk about it. And there isn't that much research surrounding it. The majority of the research that surrounds teeth whitening is around hydrogen peroxide because as I talked to you guys about yesterday, it breaks down the chromophores. The chromophores are the long chain molecules that cause the discoloration in your teeth, chops them up, and then they're able to come out of your teeth, and then your teeth appear nice and white. So that's what hydrogen peroxide does. The peroxide itself is the one that breaks apart those molecules, those color molecules. Now, with regards to the light, this is where the controversy comes in because people are like, well, should I do zoom whitening? Is laser whitening, power whitening, whatever you want to call it. It really comes down to that light that you put on your face, that that really intense light that you put on your face. And I'm gonna spell it out for you. Okay. I'm gonna tell you what it is, and I've been saying it for many years, but I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna keep saying it until I can't say it anymore. So the blue light itself, what it does is that it's supposed to, okay, and this is under studies, okay, in vitro meaning not in human, like not in a live tooth tissue, in vitro, like in a lab, okay. So they tested it, and they found that when there is blue light, like a very high intensity light, put on hydrogen peroxide, it activates the molecules, activates the peroxide, and makes the reaction go a lot faster and more effective, and then allows the teeth to become whiter. Okay, so that's the theory behind it that's backed by research in the lab. I may stress in the lab. Okay, now the problem is that this research is now applied to things that are done in situ, which is in the actual like live tissue. Okay, so in your mouth. Now the problem is that if you use the exact same intensity of light and heat that you would use in the lab, you would destroy your nerve tissue, and it would be very, very bad for your teeth. Okay, so that's why they can't use that intensity. It's not approved by the FDA for them to use that kind of intensity, and so they have to use a much less intensity. Now the problem is that with that much less intensity, it doesn't do anything. There isn't much difference at all, if anything, in terms of the difference between you using that light and you not using that light. As a matter of fact, you using that light is actually quite dangerous for you because it causes a lot of dehydration. And that's why the majority of people that use Zoom whitening experience a ton of sensitivity. And the reversal of the actual tooth whitening happens almost immediately, 24 hours after, because what happens is that when you dry out the tooth, it really looks white. It looks really white. And so that's what the light does. It really dries out the tooth. You don't want to dry out the tooth, by the way. It's not really good for your teeth. But I'm just saying that if you dry out the tooth with heat intensity, it's going to appear white. Okay. And then put on top of that hydrogen peroxide, sensitivity galore. And then now you get really, really like white teeth, but it's only going to last maybe 24 hours. And then once the hydration happens again, then you're going to get back to step one. And you're like, what the heck did I do? Zoom itself, Zoom whitening, is a 25% hydrogen peroxide solution. Okay, so it is high, but it's not as high as opalescence boost, which is what we use at Spinetti Dentistry. So 40% hydrogen peroxide is what we use at Spinetti Dentistry. It is very safe. A lot of research backs it. And it also incorporates fluoride and desensitizer as part of the solution. So let's get back to the slides, shall we? Laser teeth whitening. So there's 3 types of laser teeth whitening. I just went off and I told you, but I told you straight up exactly what you should know with regards to teeth whitening. The lasers, the whole thing. There's so much marketing, man. Even Philips themselves, the people who actually came up with this Zoom whitening. Okay, I'm going to remove the slide because I'm going to talk about Philips for a second. Even Philips have said that this, or the representatives, not the actual, company. Some of the representatives have said that the light's only a gimmick. It doesn't do anything. It's just there for marketing. It's just there to be like, okay, well, if you shine the light on you, that light activates the hydrogen peroxide, causes your teeth to become whiter faster, and so you don't have to spend so much time trying to whiten your teeth. Wrong. Completely wrong. False information. I still don't know why we use it. We shouldn't be using it, but I'm not getting into that. All right. So getting back here. So you have the laser. So true laser, okay, the one that truly whitens your teeth is the erbium YAG laser. Okay, and that's by a company called Photona. And it's not really used that much, to be quite honest with you. But according to their website, it does whiten your teeth. Okay, now how effective is it in comparison to hydrogen peroxide? How safe is it? I don't know. I personally don't know, and I'm the first to admit it. No clue. Okay, because I didn't look into it that much. But what I can tell you is it's not really used that much. But that is the laser. Like that's when someone says laser teeth whitening. If they're not talking about erbium YAG laser, they're not talking about the proper laser teeth whitening. The majority of people, what they say with laser teeth whitening, they're actually conflating the two. They're confusing laser teeth whitening with the Zoom whitening, with that white, with the blue light. Okay, the blue light, or they call the power whitening, or whatever you want to call it for marketing reasons. That's what people are calling laser whitening, but it's not in essence laser whitening. Okay, it's just blue light that's high intensity shining on your teeth that does absolutely nothing but probably harms your teeth. Okay. All right. Then you have the LED lights, those ones that come in those things that you get from the internet, like when you buy the teeth whitening, and even Crest jumped on it and some other companies jumped on it. I cannot believe it. It blows my mind because I thought we're doing this for the benefit of the patients. And if things don't actually work, you don't actually do it. But as you can see, a lot of gimmicks are being passed around and a lot of people are doing it. It's kind of weird, but it is what it is. And my voice will probably not project that much because I'm sure that other people's voices are a lot louder than mine, even though I have a pretty loud voice, I was told. So just letting you know that don't believe everything that you see. Don't believe everything that you hear. Make sure you do some research, and make sure you do some research beyond blogs, please. Do some research that is actually verified and peer reviewed and maybe even systematic. Like look into actually qualified research. All right. Don't just look into a blog. Oh, this person wrote about it. Sound convincing. Let me go and do it. Don't do that. Okay. Completely advise against that. That's the way you get yourself hurt. So the LED light stuff that you get from those, e-commerce companies, they don't work. Obviously, they don't do anything. Okay, they're just there, and like they put them in the mouth, and they press that button. You have the light, and then you have these people testimonials. Oh yeah, lovely. Look at it doesn't do anything. Save yourself the headache. Save yourself the money. And by the way, that thing costs like $2. They charge you, Crest charges you, I think, $70 for it. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, getting back to it, shall we? Toothpaste. All right, so we talked about the lasers. Talked about how the only lasers that work is erbium YAG laser, and that's not really used that much. And that, so erbium YAG, and the other one, the zoom whitening, doesn't work. The LED whitening doesn't work. The only thing that actually works is the ingredient called hydrogen peroxide, and the best one on the market so far that I found, according to my research, is Opalescence Boost, 40% with fluoride and desensitizer. And this podcast is not sponsored by Opalescence. It should be because I talk about it too much, but it's not. I'm just giving you my free and unadulterated opinion. Now, toothpaste. A lot of people wonder, what kind of toothpaste should you use? Well, I mean, it depends. What are you trying to do with the toothpaste? People are like, do I have to use fluoride? Do I have to use this like teeth whitening stuff? Do I have to use a certain product? What is the best toothpaste? As one of my professors in dental school once said, you don't even need toothpaste in order for you to clean your teeth properly. Okay. But there's a big caveat to it. There's a big but. Okay. It really depends on your diet. Because if you have a horrible diet, then toothpaste with fluoride will benefit you greatly. But if you only eat vegetables, you can get away easily with no fluoride. Okay. So if you're like very organic, you don't eat anything, you only eat meat, and you don't put any sugar in anything, and you're only eating vegetables and meat, then by all means, skip the fluoride. What's the point? Just do without. But if you are consuming the regular Western North American diet, then I highly suggest that you use fluoride, just because it does protect your teeth. It does render it more or less susceptible to acid attack from a 5.5 to a 4.5. So it does make it really beneficial for you to use fluoride. Now, if you're trying to whiten your teeth, this is what we're talking about. If you're trying to whiten your teeth, what kind of toothpaste should you use? So the ADA came about, the American Dental Association came about this RDA. The RDA, I'm going to put it back here. Okay, the RDA stands for the relative dentine abrasivity. Okay, so this is the component in the toothpaste that is going to scrub away the dentine. Okay, and so they did these experiments, and they did 100,000 strokes, okay, of toothbrush. So they simulated 100,000 strokes, which they estimate to be the amount of strokes that someone does during their lifetime. And they have said that it is safe for an individual to use toothpaste with an RDA of 100 to 200, RDA 100 to 200 toothpaste. And it's safe to do so because the amount of tooth wear that you're going to experience in a lifetime is around 1 millimeter, which is acceptable. Okay, so that's according to the ADA, the American Dental Association. Now, according to some dentists, they say, well, I mean, let's take the safer approach. I know the ADA says 100 to 200. Let's take the safer approach and stick around the 100 mark. Okay, the 100 mark is still abrasive. It's still relatively high in abrasivity. So stick around there just to protect your teeth, and so to protect your teeth against wearing, but also consider other factors when it comes to, the wear. But before we go there, there is a list of different toothpaste with different RDAs, and you can get that from the ADA website. So you can get it there. I tried to put it on the slides, but it just didn't work. So you can get it from the ADA website. What I'd recommend you do is just use literally a toothpaste. Sensodyne seems to be like the safest toothpaste. Like, it seems to be like in that range, in the 100 range. Don't use Sensodyne whitening. Just use regular Sensodyne. That seems to be the one that is like safest. There's other ones that are also good. Tom's doesn't have fluoride, so I mean, use it with your own discretion. But these kind of toothpastes are actually, they're fine to use. Okay, so stick around the RDA 100, and you should be okay. From cleaning to cleaning, from 6 months, every 6 months you should go see your dentist, because the plaque does accumulate and the plaque does cause the staining. So, and people don't know this, but plaque accumulates, and as plaque accumulates, it actually causes your teeth to look stained. So when you go to the dentist and the hygienist actually cleans your teeth and polishes, that removes the plaque and it removes all that stuff, and automatically your teeth look whiter. Okay, so if you use an RDA of 100 in between your cleanings every 6 months, that should keep your teeth clean and white for basically your lifetime if you're going to the dentist every 6 months. I hope that made sense. Okay, so to recap, go to the dentist every 6 months, use an RDA toothpaste of around 100, and that should keep the plaque down to a level where your teeth are not stained and they look nice and white for around 6 months, up until the point you need to press the reset button where the hygienist goes and cleans up all the plaque and all the calculus and all that good stuff, gives you a polish and fluoride, and you go on your own merry way with nice, bright white teeth. Okay? Now, in terms of, so that's the recommendation is 100 RDA. Okay? Now, in terms of the tooth wear itself, now I was going to talk about tooth wear, and I want to talk tooth wear simply because, tooth wear isn't just related to the toothpaste. So if you use toothpaste with a high RDA, but you will have very, pH balanced diet. Let's say, for instance, you don't have an acidic diet, so you're not consuming coffee, tea, wine. You're not consuming all these things or energy drinks as I do. So you're staying away from that stuff. It doesn't really matter that much that you're using an RDA of 200. But the general consensus is that for you to use an RDA of 100 toothpaste in that range for you to keep your teeth nice and clean. Now, the tooth wear, I'm going to keep the slide open for just a tiny sec. The tooth wear, the study didn't take into account these things. The study that I just mentioned from the ADA where they simulated 100,000 brush strokes on your teeth to simulate how much that you would wear down your teeth over a long period of time over your lifetime. That these things were not taken into account. So brushing force and time. So the amount of actual, how forceful are you at brushing your teeth? Man, I can tell you, some people brush their teeth so hard you think like they're brushing the metal off. I don't know, off a plate. Does that make sense? That doesn't really make much sense. But they're scrubbing so much. It's like, what are you scrubbing? Like, these are your teeth or your tissues. Like, take care of them. Then they come to my clinic and they have all these lesions and their gums are receding. People, be kind to your gums. Don't brush so hard. Be nice to yourself. If you had a bad day, don't take it out on your teeth and gums, because then it breaks my heart when I see your teeth and gums like that. All right. So that's the first thing, is the amount of force. Now, the time. Now, studies have shown that 2 minutes is great, and 2 minutes is great as long as you're doing it properly. So 30 seconds on each quadrant of your mouth. Okay, so if you split your mouth into 4 different quadrants like this, so that's 30 seconds on each side of your tooth, right? So the outside, the inside, and the biting surface on each of these quadrants. 30 seconds on each one, more than enough. And the only reason I'd recommend the electric toothbrush, well, one of the reasons, is that it is timed. So it's timed so that it actually buzzes after 30 seconds. So you can be brushing your teeth and you're nice and gentle, of course. You're brushing your teeth and then it starts to buzz, and then you go to the next one, right? So you brush the outside, then you brush the biting surface, then you brush the inside, and it buzzes, right? But you're going slow. You're not brushing. And I've seen some people, man, it's like they're going boxing with their teeth. Like, what are you doing? You only got one set. You know how expensive it is to have like gum surgery and to have implants? Just take care of your teeth. Okay, so that's the force. The force. Bristle stiffness. Okay, I'm sure you've heard this many times before with regards to bristle stiffness. Make sure you use more of a softer bristle toothbrush. You don't have to use the super soft ones, but just be gentle. If you switch to electric, probably the easiest thing you could do is switch to electric, and they have soft bristle toothbrushes. It works great, and it'll leave your teeth feeling nice and clean. The technique, there is a technique, and here's something for you. It's called the modified Bass technique. Google it. Okay, it's called the modified Bass technique. So that's the best technique for you to use in order for you to clean your teeth properly without damaging your gums and actually cleaning the plaque out in between your gums and your teeth. And then you have the effects of electric toothbrush. I already mentioned that. And then pre-exposure to acid. Now, here's the thing about pre-exposure to acid. Many people don't know that when you have, like, a lot of people are very stain conscious. So a lot of people don't want to have stained teeth. Now, the problem is that because they're so self-conscious about the staining, After they drink coffee, they think it's a good idea for them to brush their teeth. Wrong. It's not a good idea to brush your teeth right after coffee because your teeth or your environment right now is very acidic. And when you're brushing in an acidic environment, you're literally eroding your teeth, okay, and wearing them away, like killing it. So don't do it. Because if you keep doing it, then obviously you're gonna have yellower teeth as you grow older because you're gonna be brushing away your enamel. So don't do it. You're gonna have sensitivity, you're gonna have a lot of problems. So the pre-exposure to acid comes with food and any kind of, acidic foods, acidic drinks. So if you are consuming these things, make sure you give your mouth a good wash of water. So put some water in your mouth, wash it around, and then give yourself around 10 to 15 minutes for your saliva to buffer your acid in your mouth back to a pH that is basic. Okay, so then once that is in the basic, then you can go ahead and brush safely. Very important, because if you don't do that, that's how you run into a lot of problems. Okay, you run into a lot of problems. You run into, all these root exposures and like a significant problems. One of the things that you can avoid is pre-exposure to acid due to food. Okay, just give it a little bit of time, swish with water, drink some water. And if you don't have enough saliva being produced, like for instance, right now, like in my case, when I'm fasting and I'm not producing enough saliva, not a good idea to brush the teeth right now, right? So you kind of want to just leave it until you can actually put some water in your mouth, and then you can brush your teeth safely. Okay, right now. Oh, this is a topic and a half, isn't it? DIY whitening, strawberries, baking soda, xylitol. Wow. So when you go home, first thing you want to do is you want to take a teaspoon of baking soda. You want to put it in a little bit of water, and you want to squish it around until it becomes into a paste. And then you want to take some strawberries, and you're going to smush them inside that little container that you just made some baking soda with water in. And then after that, you're gonna sprinkle some xylitol, and you're not gonna eat this. This is not for baking. This is for your teeth. Then you're gonna take a toothbrush and you're gonna dip it like this, and you're gonna brush and you're gonna pray to God that you're doing the right thing by your teeth. I can't speak to it. Okay, I cannot speak to any DIY anything. Okay, a lot of people ask me this stuff. They ask me about strawberries and lemon juice and lemons and bananas and orange peels and man, you name it, they've asked it. And I just look and I say, look, I'm a dentist. I've studied traditional dentistry. This DIY stuff, I would really stay away from because I don't know if it works or not. So if you want to experiment on yourself, if you want to be your own guinea pig, then be my guest. But if you screw up, it's going to cost you a lot for you to fix it. Okay, so I'm just letting you know, putting it out there. Yes, you're going to hear anecdotes of people swearing by it, but you're going to hear people swearing by anything. So don't believe anything people say, really. Take it with a grain of salt. Okay, Salt Bay. Take it with a grain of salt. And just don't do any DIY stuff. The only thing I really can advocate for is xylitol because, it's studied really well and it's been on the market for years, since the 1970s. So it really does work. And it's in gums. And I love the gum that has xylitol in it. It kills the bacteria because it is a metabolic. What's the word I was looking for? It stops the metabolism of the actual bacteria. So like when the bacteria ingests xylitol, it thinks it's sugar, it can't actually metabolize it, and so it dies. Okay, so and that happens only to the bad bacteria. That's what the research says. Okay, I'm laughing because it's just like I read that, I was like, really? Only the bad bacteria are the ones eating the xylitol? The good ones are like, nuh-uh. I know the difference between sugar and xylitol. I ain't touching that one. Sometimes you read these studies and you're like, really? Like, only the bad bacteria are going to be affected by it? I don't know. It's just when I ever read these things, I'm just like, okay. But I know that it does get rid of the bad bacteria. Okay, that's all you should care about, really. No matter what you do, you're going to have bacteria in your mouth. So best for you to reduce the amount of bad bacteria so you can reduce the amount of cavities. But hey, if you like bacteria and you like the bad bacteria and you don't want to do xylitol, be my guest. You'll make me more money because I'll be seeing you more often for me to fix your cavities. Okay? All right. Hope you enjoyed that one. Oh, this is from yesterday. All right. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy Ramadan. Hope you're fasting well. If you're not fasting, hope you're enjoying these podcasts. And if you want to hear anything in terms of any podcast stuff from me, make sure you leave it in the comments somewhere where this is being recorded. Stay well. And as always, keep smiling. Good night.